Welcome to the Teach Different podcast. We have a Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu, on deck tonight. And it's going to be an amazing quote about, well, you know what? I'm going to keep you in suspense. I'm not even going to say what the quote is about until we do our little intro here. We're going to break down this provocative quote, and we're going to say what the claim is and what the counterclaim is, get a little critical thinking going, understanding the world from some competing perspectives, and we're going to ask some questions. And what's really cool, I think, about these quotes is that they can come from, in this case, 3,000 years ago. We are going to be talking about somebody's wisdom first shared 3,000 years ago, and it's just as relevant today. That is the beauty of philosophy. So we're excited tonight to have Jarvis Funches with us again. And he's been with us multiple times. He's one of the founding, inspiring people of the Teach Different method, and with his experiences with Steve in West Side of Chicago. What a story! And so whenever he comes back, it's just great to see him. So here we go. Here's the quote from Lao Tzu. I'll say it twice, and then Jarvis, you can jump in and share first. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. What's going on here, Jarvis?
To be honest, I first want to start off by saying hey to the podcast and all the listeners. I picked this quote because, man, it's kind of challenging, you know? I really, right off the bat, don't really have a claim to spark it off. But what I do feel that it means kind of to me is that, like, once you kind of become one with yourself, you kind of realize that everything else around you is kind of attachments to you. So in a way, once you learn to be one with yourself, I feel like you don't become worried about the attachments that's around you. That's how I look at it. I don't know if I'm kind of getting it or if some of the listeners could kind of, understand why I'm saying it, but I feel like he's basically saying once you become one with yourself, you realize that every other thing in life is basically attachment. So once you learn how to prioritize yourself, you won't worry about the little attachment things to around you because you're one. But it could be very different ways, and maybe people out here can think different. So what you guys think about that? I don't know. It's challenging tonight.
You read it as being one with yourself. Can I put that question to you a little bit? Elaborate on that. I feel like I know what you're saying, but I'd like to hear.
Okay. So what I mean by being that one with yourself is like, let's knock all the peace stuff out and all that. All right. But once you become a one with yourself, it's like you understand yourself. You know your value. You know, you're basically, you're stable at a sense to where you're at peace with your life. You understand that you're the temple, you're in control. Everything that you can't control, you have no worry over. But everything you can control, you control. So that's what I mean by having that, becoming one with yourself is because, like, a lot of people kind of stress about the things that they can't control in life, like bills or relations or even school or sports, anything like that. People be kind of stressed out about it. But once you understand that you make the sport, you make the clothes, or you is the person that's showing up, then you'll become, maybe you approach things at a different way. So that's how I picked this though, because it's challenging to me too. So I like to see what you guys think too.
I love it. And you mentioned control.
Yeah.
That word control, the things you control, the things you don't control, that's part of becoming one with yourself when you realize, all right, so many things happening around me that I don't have or I need to get to or that are coming at me. But I've got some things that I do control, like my attitude and like my the way I see myself, like you're saying, like I'm a temple that is actually, in a way, it's finished. It's perfect. And the minute that you realize that nothing is lacking, okay, so basically saying
you're not missing anything.
Exactly.
These people that got better clothes and maybe have a better life, you think, than you, or people that are happier. Once you get out of that mode and you realize, no, hang on, you're there. You just have to realize that. Then all of a sudden the world belongs to you. Like you have the world, you have your happiness. And
Exactly.
I'll add this in before Dan, you weigh in. I've noticed that the most self-assured people, like the ones that you would say maybe are one with themselves, they end up having so many people flock to them. They have the friends, they have the admirers, they have the people that wonder, what's the secret to your happiness? You're never worried about stuff. You're never running around trying to get this or get that. The world actually does come to you in a way when you have that contentment.
Yeah, see, exactly. Just you explained it perfect, because exactly how you just saying, like, once you realize that you don't need to chase it, you can allow it to come to you, then that's when I feel like you become one with yourself. So that's what I feel like that this quote, but you said it perfectly. Like you laid it out on the table.
Yeah,
You said
chasing. I like that too.
Exactly.
What do you think, Dan? What do you think?
I think both of you, when you realize nothing is lacking, the world belongs to you. Don't complain about what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
You're not lacking anything. Stop complaining. You're alive. You're at one with yourself, kind of what you said, Jarvis. I don't know if that was your exact language, but you're full. Your cup is full. And when your cup is full, you radiate happiness to others. And so the world belongs to you. Good things come to you if you radiate goodness. It's easier said than done, of course, because sometimes you have to fight through looking at your life sometimes and saying, man, I don't have all this stuff. All this stuff has happened to me. I have so many reasons to be miserable. But if you can turn that a little bit and just fill it up with the goodness and realize that you have what you need, then, the happiness will come to you.
True. I like your approach. So in a way, I would ask or I would ask all of us on the podcast, let's look at this as a different approach. Could you read that quote for me one more time, please?
When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Okay. Now I'm going to think in a simple-minded person when they say, once you realize that you're not lacking. So how do you realize that you're not lacking? Or when do you even know, like, what's lacking? Or why do you even feel like that you're even lacking? Is you in competition with other people? And I'm just saying, I'm still on the quote and it's still my claim, but it's just, I'm coming from a simple-minded person that would just read it and just go off the quote. So what would you feel that you're lacking? Like, is it that you're in competition with people and you feel like that you don't have what they have? Or is it that you're like, do you feel like you're lacking ability or money, financial ability? Like, what is it? Like,
I can jump in, Jarvis, and speak for other people and me sometimes too. Sometimes the lacking is you never feel you're good enough. See, for your parent, for your coach, for your teacher, for your pastor, you're never good enough. There's always something that you don't have that you need. That feeling is that feeling of incompleteness.
wow.
And if you're around negative people, they can foster that sense, right?
Yeah,
that you don't have it.
Yeah, they can really water that negative, your own negative thought. They can really water your own negative thought. That's crazy. Both of you guys did that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And man, I like what you said, Dan, too, though. Like, just even feeling like you're lacking, not being good enough. Like that's why I love this quote. Like, it's something that plays a part in us that makes us feel that we're not good enough. And that's why we really want to get at, like, why do we feel that we're not good enough? Or why do we feel that we're not capable of being complete? Or why do we always feel incomplete? Like, what is it about human that always has us feeling that incompletion? I don't be know, because I feel like that myself too, though. Like, I really truly want to know, because maybe somebody can help me realize something, because I do be waking up some days and do be feeling like, man, damn, I'm trying. I know I'm trying. People around me saying that I'm trying. They say I'm trying, but shit, it just feel like it's not enough. Like, like, what am I not doing? So that's a good point. That's a good point, though.
Yeah. I mean, I got a real simple example back in, it's either 7th or 8th grade.
Mhm.
I tried out for the basketball team. This was on the West Coast in Oregon. And we were really short growing up, Jarvis. Like the age I met you, your age when you were like 15, 16, we were like 5 feet. Okay. And then we ended up growing like a foot in high school. Okay. But we loved basketball. And in the 8th grade, I was even shorter than 5 feet. But I went out for the team and I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't really care if I make it or not. That's what I kept saying to myself.
Uh-huh.
But then I made it through the first cut, and then the last cut happened, and I got cut. And then I remember that was a little devastating there for a little bit, okay?
Uh-huh.
I did feel lackey. Like, I felt like, why am I not on that team?
Right.
Like, what is it what is someone trying to say to me? And here's what ends up happening, I think, to a lot of people. It happened to me. You end up thinking that, like, I don't know, God, fate, there's some reason that somebody is telling you that you're not good enough. And you start like getting really serious with it. And you start thinking that it means something about you, that you're not going to be good at things. And you're not going to be good enough. And it's just, I don't know, that's mine. And I remember I was crying in the bathroom or something. My dad came down and I locked the bathroom and I was like, I think it only lasted.
I wasn't laughing, was I?
You may have been, but look, it lasted like a day or 2 days because, we had good parents, right? And they were picking us up always. And I also had other stuff I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I probably also was telling myself, like, I don't need that team. Like whatever it takes to get rid of that feeling that you're lacking at something. And then all of a sudden you're good, right? Or I was, but that's my little story. I mean, it's simple.
Maybe I be feeling like, and I'm glad you said that because, like, man, like I said, I do wake up and feel like I ain't good enough at things though. But like I was saying earlier, when like just becoming one with yourself, you have to realize, slow down, stop, pay attention for a moment. And this is what I tell myself, is because you could get caught up in your everyday traffic to where you'll lose thought of your own motion. Like you'll become on autopilot. That's what I say to people. You'll be trained to do something so much to where you're not even really thinking. You just doing it because you're so used to doing it. So I tell myself, stop, pay attention, and move with intention. So now I don't be feeling, I do still feel like I be lacking, but I move with intention now. I don't compare myself to other people. I don't look at the people's lanes or how fast they're going or slow they're going. I focus on what I got in front of me. And I have to be intentional with my focus. So that's what I really want to tell other people. Like, that's something that I do to try to stop that doubt of lack. But it's still like, sometimes it's just still overbearing because it's like, it's always on your shoulder. Like, it's always chipping. Like, it can get overbearing in the brain. Like, I don't know. Like, but yeah.
No, I'm Dan, do you got something to share? Or
I'm ready for the counterclaim.
All right.
Here we go. Here's the quote. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. When you realize something is lacking, the world belongs to you. The idea being there's something for you to improve on, and you can use your free will and your efforts and your energy to conquer something you never thought you could conquer. That's the world belongs to you at the end of that day.
That's true. That's when you learn your greatness, weakness. You become great at your weakness. I truly agree with that, Dan. I truly do. because once you do realize that you lacking at something, and then you start to work at it, your work ethic becomes amazing in that field. So now you're undefeatable. So, man, that's a great counterclaim. That's a great counterclaim. What you think, Mr. Fouts?
That's really good. Yeah, I agree with what both of you are saying because like, look, when you're incomplete and you get motivated to get better at something, that's pushing you. And if you're walking around all day just saying I'm good, it doesn't matter what's going to happen.
That's been delusional. That's been delusional.
Right.
That's not right. A work ethic. That's delusion. You're training your brain to think that you're good at something that you put no work ethic into. That becomes delusion. You're delusional. It's time for the crazy house at that point.
I love delusional. I didn't think of that word, but you're right.
That's what that is. You're making your own reality. Like which is there's nothing wrong with it, but you're forcing yourself to live in a reality that's just not compatible. Like it's not compatible. You can't walk around and sound the best
when you're
teacher
saying that nothing. You're saying you're forcing yourself to live in a new reality when you're saying that nothing is lacking. Okay, and I would say, so I would also say that you're living in another reality if you're saying things are lacking.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I was saying. Like once you realize that something is lacking, and like Mr. Fouts was saying, once you realize something is lacking, but you still wake up in the morning not working on it, but you keep forcing yourself saying, "Oh, I'm good at it." You become delusional. And that's where it becomes bad because now that's self-sabotage because bro, you know that's just like me saying, like me say, we playing basketball. I know I can't dribble a basketball, but I keep saying I'm Kyrie Irving. I could dribble. And I get out there on the court and I don't know what I'm doing. That's delusion.
Then but you know what it takes to
exactly. You're not even blindsided. You ignorant to your choices. You ignorant to your knowledge. You know personally you cannot do that. But you still want to act like you can. That's people being ignorant to their knowledge. You being ignorant. Like, come on, like, let's not do that.
I got another take on it. In addition to being delusional, think of like fear of rejection, or how about this? Like, go back to my basketball analogy. I didn't make the team. So I sit there, and I guess this is a form of delusion, but I sit there and I say to myself, man, I didn't want to make that team anyway. And all of a sudden, you're taking your dreams and your aspirations and your goals, and you're starting to like set them lower, or even get rid of them. Because
or you start to make them seem like they never existed because you got rejected. But and I ain't gonna, and I'm glad you said that because that stops a lot of people with this counterclaim. Even if you do find out that you lack it, or even if you never find out that you lack, or even if you do become at peace with yourself, what we tell in the podcast is never become delusional about the choices that you make, or never become delusional about the things that you go through. Like, please let the quotes be what they mean. Like, if you find out you lacking in the field, become better at it. Don't just find out you lacking at it and don't do nothing about it and neglect the situation, because then you're going to still go through what you go through. Now, if you not lacking at something, but you let's just say you feel like you're not lacking at something, but you lacking at everything. We can't do that because that's being delusional. You're neglecting responsibility. You're neglecting your knowledge. You're neglecting good choices at all times doing that. So I could just, man, like, I don't know. We go on, no, but I don't know. That's my counterclaim against it, though. Like, even if you do find out you lacking at something, you need to work at it. And if you feel like that you're not lacking at something, but you're worse at everything, you can't be delusion, man. Like, you got to really like correspond yourself and understand what you're going through.
So go ahead, Steve.
No, build an essential question, Dan. I'm feeling like you're thinking the same thing.
Question. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Well,
I'm thinking of a question.
Let me go with what Jarvis has already said about how do you know you're lacking at something and how important is it? What criteria are you using? You could just see that you could be 5'4" and say, I'm never going to make the basketball team, and you're lacking. And you could be trying to make the basketball team and you're 5'4", and that could be a year, a life of frustration. But you could also, so that might be something where you shouldn't worry about something that you're lacking in. But then there are other things like knowledge. If you feel like you're lacking in knowledge, don't be shy. Don't give up on that one. That's something that you can be humble and keep learning on.
You can
control it. Yeah, there you go. There's a good criteria. If you can control it, yeah, go with that.
Well, but again, even if you can control it and it requires so much of your energy at the expense of other things, it still might be not worth it. I don't have an example specifically. Here's another question. How do I become at peace with myself?
Ooh, now that's sharp. And I'm glad you asked that question. And when the podcast members answer, when they listen in on that, how do you know, or how do you even become at peace with yourself? That's a real battle to fight. That's a real battle to fight. Because at that point, like we keep saying, you're going to have to face some real demons. And to be honest, I feel like you create your own demon. So once you facing your own demons, that's why I always say a lot of people don't want to sit by themselves, or they can't sit with themselves, because you can't, a lot of people that's horrible people, you can't live and sit by yourself and just think about all the horrible stuff you did to people. And a lot of you will see a lot of people always trying to be around other people. Like misery, y'all loves company. Y'all like to make other people feel miserable because you miserable, because you can't live with your own choices in life. So now you trying to make everybody else miserable. But that's what people do though. So that's true though. My question is to my whole podcast and to everybody out there, like, even when you find out you is lacking, when do you do something about it? Because I'm lacking at some stuff right now, man. I still be putting it on postpone. So when you find out that you lacking, like, when do you really start to do something about it? Right away, or would you still neglect it, like I'm doing? I know it's wrong, but I feel like it go wait. But I don't know.
That's one I would say, and I know what you mean. That's one where if it keeps surfacing, like whatever you got in your mind, Jarvis, you brought it up now, and here we are, and we've got our podcast listeners. The fact that you're even putting it out there in the universe means that it's something that is real, and it's something that probably has more credence than some other things that you don't care about that are easy just to like stop thinking about. It's like if you're doing it every day, that's the sign.
That's the sign to just go with it.
Yeah, go with it. And then the question though becomes, okay, so now you feel like you're lacking in something. Mm-hmm. So what direction do you go? Do you say to yourself, can I control it or can I not control it? I'm not going to feel like I'm lacking anymore. That's unwise. I'm going to put that aside and bury it. Or do I use that as my motivation? I've been feeling a lack in this and it's not going away. That's the sign that I do need to pursue that and address it. And it's important to me enough to do it.
Yeah, see, I think, okay, I think I'm just going to pursue it and do it. I ain't gonna lie, because, like, see, hearing it come out of somebody else's mouth, like from a different point of perspective a little bit, it just made me, I'm just going to do it. I don't know. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, there you go. No, I mean, I don't.
You made sense, though, like, it do keep surfacing. Like, it do keep surfacing, but like, I always, like, when it surfaces, I be like, all right.
A good question to ask in this conversation, if you're using it with students or any group, is what are you lacking right now? What are your feelings of lacking? That'd be a good way to get the crowd, if you're working with a crowd, to share some things that they're struggling with. And I bet that there would be people struggling with it together. It wouldn't be an isolated thing. That would be, I
get exactly what you're saying, Dan. I get exactly what you're saying. Like, once you ask everybody what they feel like they like it, and once a couple people come out sharing, then everybody will get to share because they feel comfortable. Because like we want everybody on the podcast to know, like, nobody's perfect, and we want you guys to feel comfortable with asking any questions that you want, or no question is a stupid question. That's how I truly feel, because you want to know a question, you want to know the knowledge to it. So, like, we all share things, so y'all will come on and ask any questions or anything, just ask them. Feel free to do it, But I love what you were saying, though, Dan, and I feel like that's perfect for the community, too, as well, not just as students and, peers, but for the community, though, for us all to come together and realize, okay, I'm lacking at this, but, okay, you good at that, and you lacking at this, but I'm good at that, so let's just swap. It's more like trade. Let's just swap. I'll teach you something you're bad at, and you'll teach me something I'm better at. And then that way we'll be both good at both playing fields, So I like that.
Starts with a little humility. Go ahead, Steve.
Can I take that just a little deeper before we wrap up here?
Yeah, for sure.
I think if you ask that question to people, what are you lacking? You have got to be ready to get some real deep emotional stuff potentially. And I'm talking about things like love, somebody who's watching over you, who seems to like care about you and is willing to put up with you. Like if you're feeling that, especially if you're young, that's going to be a hard one to voice.
True.
But there's so many people that go through that. And here's this one beautiful thing about conversations. If you get people testifying to this and admitting this, and you hear someone else with that lack, that has a lack that's similar to yours,
exactly,
that can be a source of build right there. Like you could, is that what you were saying, Jarvis? Like that's the trade you could give. Like, you know what? I care about you. I want to hear about what you have to say. If you feel that lack, I never knew you felt that way, so.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? It's just a corresponding to communication. Like with anything, like if you made me feel comfortable, you, Mr. Fouts, you there, just like y'all do, if you made me feel comfortable to come to you and actually share you like what I'm going through personally and actually get real advice from you as a friend, a father, a teacher, whatever role that I'm coming to you as, and I'm coming up, like, I feel like that's a big duty. It may not be a big duty to others, but I'm trusting you with something personal that I'm going through. And this is really triggering my emotions. So if it's triggering my emotions, then, and I'm coming to you with it, like I trust you with it. That means so I feel like, and it could creates a sense of companionship too with people too, because they understand not only your feelings, but where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? They just not a listening ear. They actually understand what you're going through. And you guys can help each other, because you may have some experience, Mr. Fouts, or you may have experience, Dan, that either one of us don't have, and we can just share it with each other. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a mind-blowing thing, because like, wow, I didn't know this, but Dan taught me this. And Dan, I didn't know that, but hey, Mr. Fouts taught me that. We just sharing knowledge with each other, and that's how we're supposed to be.
Which is why the conversations these have emotional and rational benefits, thinking benefits, emotional benefits, binding us together, realizing that as humans, we are all the same in so many ways. We just don't acknowledge it because we don't share it. And, if we want to have conversations across different ethnicities and races and religions, let's talk about some themes that we can all connect with.
Exactly.
And be vulnerable together. Then we're connected.
Exactly.
Then we're not thinking these things. We
won't be lacking.
We won't be lacking anything. We'll have understanding.
My best thing of sharing with people, or my best way of even communicating with different races, different people around me, anything, I always say that we family, because I truly believe in that. And like my example, if I was a teacher and I had a classroom with different races, I got a whole classroom, bunch of different people. if I approach all my students as a family member, number one, they'll be comfortable to explain their fears, to explain their doubts, because I'm approaching myself as a family member. Like we family. Even though I'm your teacher, we family. It's probably some stuff at home you're going through that your parents can't help you with, that I can help you with. Look, we family. Just come to me and we could do it as a team. See, once you connect, that's my example. Like if I connected with all my students like that, don't matter white, black, Mexican, don't matter the race. I feel like that's the powerhouse. Those the greatest rulers. My whole classroom feel comfortable enough to come to me and tell me what they're going through. And not only are they comfortable to tell me what they're going through, they make my job easy, because guess what? They're not coming to school giving me a problem to learn. They're not coming in here giving me all the back talk, because guess what? We family. We all know what we here to do. We here to work. We here to graduate. We here to work as a team. Hell, we here to be successful, baby. Let's do it.
And the world belongs to us.
And once you get that type of mentality in your classroom, you run it. You're going to be the best teacher in the world. You're going to be the best teacher in the school. Everybody's going to love you.
And just to wrap up on the right note, Jarvis, I love the spirit. It can all start with a quote. And that's what this conversation method is all about. How do you reach into people's souls and hearts? You challenge them to think and to feel and to share. And then when you do that, all good things in the world come. The world belongs to us.
Yeah, there you go.
Once you live in harmony, the world belongs to you.
Right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This hopefully was an inspiring episode. I mean, these are such great big ideas. When you realize nothing is lacking, the world belongs to you. Look what that's created here. So